I really be out here thinking I'm like God's gift to humanity just because like this one day my hair decides to work with me. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I only have half my shit together. The other half is in pajamas. I haven't left my place in a week. I can explain. Change of weather, a change of heart. The reason why I haven't left my place in like 2 weeks is because my school canceled its winter camp and they're like, stay home. Our town has like a bunch of corona cases, so like just chill at home. And I'm like, cool, what am I gonna do at that time? So I'm like, you know what? I can actually read and be a productive person and not be a disappointment to society. So I ended up reading like a shit ton of books within 2 weeks. So technically, I wasn't being a lazy piece of shit. I was actually being productive for this video. You're welcome. Where to start? January reads. What I read in January. I'm just gonna go through a few of them and then I thought maybe to wrap up the video, what my to-be reads are. The book that I kicked off my January reads was The Portrait of Dorian Gray. Or is it the picture? I don't know, it's both. By Oscar Wilde. It centers around our main character named Dorian Gray, who has this weird fascination of being young forever and being beautiful because that was all the rage. This took place in 1890 in England and he ends up selling his soul. He will forever stay young. Nothing can kill him, nothing can hurt him. He's eternal, pretty much. It's a great book. I read it within 2 days. Highly recommend you read it. All right, the second book, I've read this book so many times, so I don't know why I reread this again. I think I'm just so fascinated by this author, but the book I read was The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I read this a lot in high school. My dad forced me to read this, and it's a book on military strategy, right? And it's based on like the Chinese warfare and like the military. A lot of business people actually read this book to like strategize and like market, I don't know, their business with other competing businesses. This was something that was taught with like politics, and I can understand why. It just makes you think outside the box when it comes to politics or the world of business. I don't know, this is something like interesting to read. I've always enjoyed reading this book because every single time I read it, there's always something new that I learned. So yes, go ahead and read that. For my Greek and Roman lovers of tragedy and epic poems, this book is for you. The Enid by Virgil. I'm pretty sure I butchered it, but the Enid is a Latin epic. It takes place between 29 to 19 BC. It tells the story of Enid, who's a Trojan hero who flees his hometown with his father and his young son, and they go and they travel to Italy where he becomes like the ancestor of Rome. Along the way he meets like Cyclops, he falls in love with Dido. Like, I almost want to say this is like almost a Roman version of the Odyssey. It follows a tragic hero who's trying to find a new home and falls in love along the way. You know, if you guys are feeling in the mood to just, you know, have a epic tale or, you know, follow a sad hero, go for it. This book is for you guys. This book has a very special place in my heart. All of my siblings read it. It was like a weird little thing. It's called The Little Prince. Please don't kill me, but I'm going to mispronounce his name because I am not French. It is by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I know it's Antoine. Something, something, something. Here you go. I don't really know how to like describe the summary of the story, but it just pretty much follows this little boy named the Little Prince who meets with like this pilot, and he travels around this universe visiting different Earths and moons and just visiting all these characters, and the brilliancy and the works and like the poetry, it's just phenomenal. Korea loves The Little Prince. I mean, like, you go to any little bookstore or like little coffee shop, they've got like the Little Prince poster or like Little Prince stationery or like some shit. Like, Koreans love it over here, and I don't blame them. It's a wonderful book, and if you just went to like have your imagination be blown away and feel like a little kid again, I highly recommend The Little Prince. This book brings back so many memories of my childhood. Princess Bride by William Goldman. This book just hits differently than your like majority of like fantasy, comedy, romantic novels out there. There was a movie that's made after it, and like us homeschoolers, we like feed on that shit. Like, that's just like our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, we would get together and just watch this movie and quote it from the very beginning to the very end. I haven't read this book in a while, so I read it, and I read it within a week, and let me tell you, it just was on a whole other level of just being like an adventure story. For those who don't know, The Princess Bride is about this young woman who lives on the farm named Buttercup, who pretty much like shits on this farmer or the farmhand named Wesley, and then they end up falling in love, and then he's like, well listen, in order to marry you I need money, so he goes off to search for wealth and like is lost at sea, and then Buttercup finds out that, you know, he's dead, he was killed by the dread pirate robbers, and so she ends up being chosen by the neighboring king, who's like, you're beautiful, I want you for my wife, and she's like, well, I have nothing else to live for because my true love is dead. So she like goes off with him. I don't want to spoil the book. It's kind of similar to the movie. The book has so many weird twists and turns. The ending had me weak though. Like I was surprised how I forgot about the ending. Okay guys, that's it for my what I read in January. Wasn't all that exciting. Literally read 5 books. I was hoping to read at least more than 5, but you know, it is what it is. So what do I plan to read in February? This book, people have been raving about it, especially amongst like the YouTube book community, and on Goodreads it has like 4.5 stars, but it's called The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. You know me, I am a sucker for, you know, Greek tragedies, and it's about Achilles, so I'm assuming it's going to be very tragic. Obviously it follows Achilles, but he meets up and becomes friends with this other young man, and they go off on a journey, and there's like some kind of, I don't know, some tragedies involved. So yes, I shall be reading that. My second book I plan on reading is called A Great and Terrible Beauty by Gemma Doyle. It follows this young woman she's 16 years old, and she moved from India back to Spence in London. Her mom recently passed away to suicide, and so she's dealt with like a bunch of guilt. She's sent to this boarding school, and apparently she like has some magical abilities. She's got visions that apparently come to life, and I don't know, it's like a gothic thriller romance book. I don't know why I decided to read that. I think just because I like the title, A Great and Terrible Beauty. It sounds poetic. I'm a poet ho. Moving on, 6 of Crows by Leah Verdugo. I've been trying to read this book for the past freaking 5 months. I've had this book on me for such a long time. It's about like a bunch of these robbers who go on this like grand heist or something. This is by the same author that wrote Shadow and Bone, which the Netflix series is coming out in April. I'm on chapter 3 on that, so hopefully I can finish this book soon. This book just needs to end. It's just got a slow start. I'm actually really excited about reading this book. It's called Lore by Alexandra Bracken. Because I'm stupid and I don't memorize shit for these videos, I'm just gonna go ahead and read to you pretty much like the synopsis of this book.
Every 7 years, the Edom begins, and as punishment for a possibility when Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals, hunted by the descendants of the ancient bloodline, all you get to kill gods is the divine power, Makati, or go the god behind forever. Athena, the major, the hunt will come at every cost.
Oh my god, I hate myself. Final book that I want to read is called Mask of Mirrors. Mask of Mirrors is just about con artists that are trying to like trick their way into like this really rich house and like steal the fortune of her and her sisters, and I thought that was like pretty cool because I don't know, I have something about robbers. The only reason why I gave myself 5 books to read within February is because there's like 28 days in February, and knowing myself, I am a procrastinator and I am not who I used to be. That is it. This video was disgusting. It was all over the place and I'm so sorry, but I hope you enjoyed it, and this is me coming out to the book community and being like, hey guys, I'm one of you now because I read some stuff. I want to go jump off a bridge now. I hope you guys have a very good day. Be kind to yourselves. Mental health is very important. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.